Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Black Box Engineering. So, I'm going to be talking about Outer Wilds. As I mentioned in my short, this will have spoilers. I'm sure that there are some that haven't played the game. Again, it's really great and you should experience it for yourself. But I'm going to be talking about two aspects from the DLC that could have been done at least a little bit better. I know that the hint system is decent in the game. It does show you things. But the thing is, in the DLC, it teaches you two mechanics. Well, maybe even a couple more than that. But two specific mechanics that I have seen people ask about when it comes to walkthroughs that I think could have been made a little bit more clear. Because it forces you to learn something that you haven't done the whole time in the base game. I'm going to be playing the game to kind of show you what the intended solution is, but then I'm going to explain why that doesn't always click for everyone, and why trying to learn something that has never been taught in the whole context of the whole game, it's foreign to learn something new, especially when it seems like one of them involves the lantern or the artifact, whatever you want to call it, and then there's those pedestals that you can set them on to play the slideshow things. Well, a player now has built a model saying, "Oh, this is the spot for that thing. I can't put it down elsewhere." I'll show you what I mean when I actually boot up the game. And then the other one has to do with actually getting to the underground area where you fall between the layers to the secret underground prison area. And then there's a section at the end where you don't really know how to blow out the lock thing to get past the statues that make noise. Normally, if you walk quietly, dark, you can't be detected by them. But in this case, there's a light shining so that you're always seen. It doesn't even matter if you walk slowly because the statues can see you. Again, the hint system kind of shows you that you're supposed to do something specific. And again, I'm going to show this in the video so it makes a little bit more sense in context. But the thing is, throughout the whole game, they have been taught to avoid this action. So it doesn't feel natural because of the new mechanic being so contrary to what you've been taught the whole time. So I'm going to also propose two solutions to kind of show you the mechanic without having to hold your hand, to build it into the story so that a player can be like, "Oh, I see something happen or an event happen. Maybe I should stay around or watch what's happening," rather than show it in these. I mean, you can show it in slides too. That's perfectly fine. But it's foreign to try something because you haven't learned it, or it's so contrary to what you've been taught the whole game. So seeing an actual thing happen in game, to see, "Oh, this happened. Huh, I wonder if I can do that." And then yeah, same thing with the other thing. There's an event that could trigger that I'm going to talk about. So I'll see you in game. See ya. I'm going to keep that in. I forgot the controls. There we go. That was hilarious. Okay. So. Gotta get to that spot. The secret spot down there. So that means I have to go to the not so fun part. It doesn't hear you. Right, it has to see you. I just skip that part so I don't have to show you the the hint reels. I don't know if it's that one. I guess the glitchy one. Yeah, it's the glitchy one. Okay. So let's see if I picked the right one here. Stupid. It could still work as an idea. I think this... I suppose that... No, I'll explain when I actually get the hint that it belongs to this area. remember how to do this. And go down. Scared me. I didn't know how close he was. Oh, please, bridge. Please, please. Please. Just please. Oh my goodness. Oh, that actually scared me. I'm gonna leave that in. That was funny. Woo. Heart. Oh, it's still there. Oh, thank you, game. You know, that's actually a pretty good speed run strat. Is the first area. So your brain already thinks that this is the place to put the artifact, and I think in the room where you enter the secret compartment area, you could also be led to think that you can only put the lantern on the pedestals too, the places where you can put the where you can grab those lanterns to get in. Because I guess in the moment it'll make more sense when I actually grab the hint, which is right here. Okay, so this is the reel that I wanted to look at first. So look, the stranger sets his lantern down and then walks away from it, and then there's an error, and then you can see the funky, like, weird behavior of the background without the projection stuff. So the intended solution is well, So that teaches you that this has a projection radius, and then if you actually walk further away, you can see that it's kind of crazy down here. And this is supposed to be the aha moment, because look, you can see the invisible bridges and everything. If you walk over here and open this, it's still going to be like disrupted and stuff. So because the inhabitants don't want you to learn the secrets, so it's supposed to teach you that you can place the lantern down, but you've associated this to only put this here on this like little pedestal thing, or the upper area where the other lanterns are. But in reality, and this is something that you don't do the whole game, because there's nothing else in the whole game where you pick up anything on purpose. So you can actually look down and like drop the artifact anywhere you want and still do the required steps, just like this. So yeah, that's the intended solution. But I've seen so many people. This was me. I didn't know that you could set it down anywhere. I didn't make the connection because I don't know. Maybe my brain thought, well, this is the virtual world. How do I know if it doesn't work the same way? And there's an invisible bridge here, by the way. Artifact. Fast forward. two hints, but still, I think actually showing a real event, and I mean something that happens right then and there, is a little bit more clear. You'll see what I mean. So this is another glitch reel, forbidden knowledge. The person on the right can hear the alarm go off because you're alive, so it severs the connection between the simulation, and so you wake up. The other person is dead, but they're still in the simulation. Their brain isn't active, so they can't hear anything. So there's no signal to wake up the person, so it's an error. So it's teaching you that you can die on the outside next to the fire and still be there. And then this other reel is to confirm that. I'll show you really quick here. Alive. So they're in the simulation. Old person comes into the circle, they die, their brain goes flat, but their brain is just there enough, so no more brain activity, but their lantern lights because their consciousness was saved right at that moment. So they discovered that they can save their brains in this thing. So again, it shows you these things, but in the whole game, it doesn't usually avoid death. So I think this is one of the main reasons as to why people get stuck on a particular section. So here, I'll show you. Let's discuss what I think could have been maybe either a better hint system or even like an additional event that could have helped connect the dots. And I think again this ties all to the concept that you've been taught throughout the whole game to avoid dying on purpose. Like you've been taught to try not to land too hard. You've been taught that if you die, you reset the loop, right? And then the other issue is the rest of the game doesn't have you mess with picking up objects until this DLC comes around. So this gets introduced late into the game because everyone says to play the whole game through first. So you don't pick anything else up throughout the whole game, and it can be really easy to forget that you can do that even if you've just done it, as you saw in my recording, that in the real world you can pick up lanterns, you can set down the artifact, you can move things around. I suppose that either me or I think his name was Keith Ballard. He struggled just like I did, and it seems like a few other people didn't get the hint through the slides for some reason. And that, I think, is because, well, you're shoved into a whole different reality, so you're not sure if everything's the same. And you learn that everything isn't the same because of those weird hand things that if you shine a light you zoom to. Also, if you obviously impossible things where you can like shine a light through a hole and suddenly something like appears on over that becomes solid. So it's all a virtual sense. So I think it's really easy to think, well, what can I do everything? Because you can't fly because you don't have your jetpack in the virtual world. You can't do anything with your spacesuit. You can't observe anything. You can't shoot anything. So I guess people like me and these other players, we're introduced to a foreign thing where we're not sure what we can do, so we didn't bother to try to look down to see if we can put the lamp down. So I think the a good solution may be, it's clear to me that the strangers thought well ahead of time by having guards and systems to detect errors in their virtual reality and all that. They're very smart creatures. So you think that they would have a little bit more security if they wanted to keep those archives safe. You think that there'd be a system to detect if the elevators go down, because all of them don't go down there. You can see by the pattern that no one really goes down there anymore. These creatures just live their own life in this virtual world consistently without a regard to what's happening on the outside. They become comfortable with it. So you'd think that they would, if this rogue agent turned off that scanner block, the signal blocker thing, you think that they would put a lot more security measures into making sure that if they did detect like either the elevators going down or the things being blown out, you think that they'd have like a initial warning system and then a secondary like event. So in my head, like the first warning would be if they detected one of the locks being blown open. You wouldn't necessarily have feedback in the virtual world, but on their little stick communication devices, they would get some kind of, maybe like a pop up on their thing saying something's wrong, and then you could easily trigger an event after detecting one of those goes out. In the video game sense, the player would go back up in the elevator from the archives, and then you could script a stranger who was on patrol. If you went up, you would see a one of these guards set down their lantern, and then they would go walk off in the distance and then suddenly disappear from view and entirely just become invisible, because I am assuming that you would look completely different, or maybe not even visible at all, if you were outside the projection radius. You wouldn't really see anything besides nothingness, because all that you're seeing around you is this projection thing. So in if it looks real, it just looks like you phase out of existence. So you'd watch this sentinel put the artifact down, and he walks away. He disappears, and maybe he's going to go check simulation or something because something didn't seem right. That could have been an easy way to show that you can do the same things you could do in the real world without spelling it out for people. You can make it part of the story. Maybe it's a little handholdy. I don't know. The other issue is being taught throughout the whole game that you don't die on purpose because you reset the loop. So even watching the reels showing that if you're next to the fire and you die, your soul lives on in the virtual world or brain or whatever, but your physical body is no longer, your brain's off basically. It's like a copy of your brain in that simulation. So that's shown, which makes sense in the strangers context. Like they figured out a way to keep people alive. But then, and then of course, they showed the other hints showing that a live person can hear the bells going off, and a dead one couldn't hear that. But when you get to the security place, I think again it's really easy to not connect the dots because you have to die in the real world, which normally would reset the loop. So if you're by the fire and you die, you would think, well, it's just gonna reset the loop again, so I better not do that. And I think that's why people ran around in circles for such a long time, because it's been ingrained into them. Don't die, don't die, don't die. You're gonna reset the loop. So another issue with breaking the mechanics, well, not breaking, but like purposely changing the mechanics to where you do want to die on purpose in the real world next to the fire, so that you will be able to walk past the alarm thing because you can't hear it. So my suggestion, just, and again, I don't expect anyone to change this, but you could integrate this into the story again. Let's say that after the first event, that other thing would happen. So you blow out one lock. If you blow out two, which is possible through getting beneath the level, you would think that this is critical mode for the virtual system to say something is really wrong. Like another elevator went down, you could flag that. You could flag it by blowing out these locks. If the second one gets blown out, you think that the strangers would have a backups thing where we better destroy the diving bell, because that's how you get to the main area. They didn't, I mean, I guess they knew of the loading zone error, but they didn't really think that'd become an issue. So, yeah, security flaws, because they're not perfect, right? So they could have a secondary system where they could have like flamethrowers or some kind of system to destroy the inner part of the diving bell to make sure that no one could get down. And it may be possible that they didn't know about the loading zone error, but in my mind they did because they logged it and hid it away in the archives, but maybe they didn't really know how to approach it. I'm not sure. But it's still possible to me to think, oh, well, you can have an event where they purposely destroy the diving bell from the inside out, but they could not account for, let's say if a player notices this, like alarm bells go off in the virtual realm, and you start seeing some flashing lights above the center zone where the diving bell is in the virtual world in the same location. And then you would think, okay, something on there. You could see, you could travel, you could wake up and go to the diving bell, and you would see that if you got close to it or tried to get in it, all of a sudden it just starts bursting into flames, and the green flame is still lit and everything. And I guess initially you would think, oh, I better get out of here. But let's say that you were in the diving bell already, because you can go there to go to sleep next to the fire. Let's say that you were there initially, the system would already detect that someone's in there, and it would, as soon as you hit the blow out the other switch, or the lock, I mean, it could trigger it immediately, and destroying the bell would yes wake you up, but you would die before you could get the chance to get out. But they didn't think of that you would go right back in, and then you could do the go back down and and try to walk over there, and then you realize that, oh, I can't hear anything, and you would have this huge aha moment. So yeah, I think those are ways to incorporate a natural flowing solution. And yeah, you can have your visual clues too, but I think you have to sometimes force an event by having these natural story woven in things, so that it just kind of happens without you knowing, and you're like, ah, and then you just feel good about that because it shows you the mechanic without spelling it out, and then so you don't feel dumb. I don't know. I guess maybe it is a little bit too handholdy. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments. I just feel like there was some missed opportunities in the DLC where they taught mechanics that went against the philosophy of the whole game because they teach you something else, or they don't teach you in the whole game, so that's stuck in your head. I don't know. There's just ways to not just show it in some vague hint of a slideshow. I feel like people disconnect from the real world and think, this isn't. It's not natural to think, oh, I can die on purpose when, like I said, when the whole point of the game is don't die, and you never put things down. It's not natural to assume that you can do this in the virtual world too. I mean, I guess it's technically a fault of me and Keith and other players to not look down, but yeah, it's just some thoughts that I've had, and maybe it's a little too handholdy, but I think it could have been woven in to make it where maybe you didn't need the visual like glitch things to be shown to you as those displays. They could have made that like even more vague, but then show you the mechanic naturally. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and remember, think outside the box and stay wise. Bye.